if you have the right strategy for these 4 months, and if you prepare with the right plan, right direction, and right strategy, these 4 months are going to decide your mains marks. If you effectively utilize these 4 months are going to give you 450 marks in your means. The notes consolidation, it should not be the subject specific. It's rather, it should be theme specific and micro theme specific. If in your schedule you have decided to give the test on 20th of October, you should give the test on 20th of October, regardless of your preparation. All you need to do is you need to go through the PYQ, you need to identify the important micro themes, and based upon that only, so only if you have the short and the crisp notes, then only you will be able to write the answers like a doctor. But also it enhances the visibility of your key points. Automatically, the first thing examiner is going to notice is this.
Okay, quickly, 3 things we'll be discussing. One is how do you consolidate notes? If you have already made notes, then this is the right time to consolidate, sit down, enrich your notes with PYQ, all those things, right? From both prelims and mains perspective. Once you are sorted with that part, you're trying to understand PYQ brainstorming, you're trying to establish the relevance of PYQ. How can you gain an advantage once you have a really good understanding of PYQs? What kind of themes you can expect it, some questions from both in prelims and mains will be, so that will be giving you idea. And the last is, because after the prelims, your mostly focus is on optional answer writing, maybe. So these are the 4 months, 100 days where you can do a full length or sectional GS mains answer writing. So these are the topics, and this is a very detailed conversation. Turn up your camera so that you are focused. I'll give you 5 seconds, have your pen and paper ready so that you can make some running notes. And yeah, let's start. Shubham sir, you can share the screen. Just give us a final check if you can see him and his screen so that he can start. Just write yes if you can see him and you can see his screen.
So without wasting any time, let's start. So the theme of the essay is the how to make the most effective utilization of these next 4 months. Okay? So you will say, so these 4 months, what the students have the basically they have the confusion with respect to the what to focus upon or what to do in these 4 months. But let me tell you, if you have the right strategy for these 4 months, and if you prepare with the right plan, right direction, and right strategy, these 4 months are going to decide your mains marks. If you effectively utilize these 4 months are going to give you 450 marks in your mains. And that too just in the 4 GS papers. So how they are going to determine your main score, that we are going to see. So let's start. First of all, let's be honest with each other that these 4 months is the most stagnant period in your UPSC preparation. Like, I have given 4 mains, I have given 2 interviews, I have given total of 5 attempts. I have been in the UPSC journey since 2015. So it's been my 9th year since in UPSC. So I know the how stagnant these 4 months are, because there are multiple reasons. First of all, you don't have any of the exam pressure, because you will be starting your prelims after January itself. So you will be giving 4 months for your prelims. So from February onwards, you will be having a exam pressure with respect to the prelims. Then after prelims, obviously, we'll be having only 3 months. So there you'll be having the exam pressure with respect to the mains. Secondly, this is the period of the festival. In next 2 days, you will be having Dashera. After that, you will be having Diwali. Then you will be having other festivals also. So because of that also, that creates lots of distractions and you are not able to concentrate, because you have to go to your places or you have to visit your house and whatnot. So because of that also, this becomes a stagnant period. Third, the period of the winters. So those specifically who are in North India or who are specifically in Delhi, they will know the period of the winters is the most unproductive period, because of the sheer winter and because of the cold. And those who have already given the means, those who have just given the 2024 means, they are have the burnout from their prelims. So they need some time to regain their energy. That's so by the time they regain their energy, it's already January and they again have to revert back to the prelims, and they, because of that, they get stuck into the cycle of the prelims means, and they don't get time to analyze their lacunas or analyze their weak areas and work upon them. But if you overcome these aspects, and if you decide to make the effective utilization of these 4 months, how to do it? Let's see. So let's see how the toppers do it. So, okay. So first of all, if you are the if this is your first attempt, then obviously you have to manage your prelims and means. But that's fine because it's your first attempt. You have all the energy. Everything that you are going to read is new to you, so you will be more interested into it. So that's fine. You can easily manage the prelims and mains. But those who are veterans, those who have just given the mains, or for those it is their second or third attempt only. For those, these 4 months you need to follow the way which the toppers do. So how to why? First of all, let's understand. So first we have understood why this is stagnant period. Now let's discuss why this is most important period. Because not just because this is going to determine whether you are going to cross 450 or not, but after the prelims, the first thing that you will notice is the time crunch. Because after the prelims, you have to manage your GS, your optional, and your the essay also. Okay, so after the prelims, you face the time crunch. So time crunch, if you don't have your notes and if you don't have the basic understanding and basic practice of the answer writing, in the period after the prelims, you won't be able to manage the workload effectively. So for effective management of the workload after the prelims, you need to be ready for your means. And to be ready for your means, you need to utilize these 4 months most effectively. Second thing is building the base. So building the base with respect to the notes. Trust me, the syllabus of the means is so vast that if you decide to start the notes making, or if you decide to read, even if you get the ready-made notes, and if you decide to read the notes after the prelims, you are never going to get the time sorry, for the effective revision and answer writing practice. The third thing is you need to build the foundation of the answer writing in these 4 months. Okay, so see, answer writing, the foundation of the answer writing basically involves four aspects. One, demand. The second aspect, structuring. The third aspect, frameworks, that is content. And the fourth aspect is the presentation. So you need to have the basic understanding and sufficient amount of practice of these four things. Only if you have the sufficient amount of practice and understanding of these things, then only you will be able to effectively utilize the 3 months after the prelims and build up on this foundation to go for the advanced stages of the answer writing. And the last stage is the if you effectively utilize these 4 months, you will be able to break the inertia with respect to the answer writing. See, I have seen multiple of the students, even the toppers and even the beginners. But the major issue that the beginners face is the answer writing inertia. Why? Because they don't have their notes. They haven't read many of the topics, or they haven't had the first reading of the many of the topics, and even the subjects like the internal security or disaster management, because those are not there into your prelims. So if you prepare those subjects beforehand in these 4 months, and if you do the sufficient amount of the answer writing, and if you break the inertia of the answer writing, so after prelims, immediately you can start your answer writing. So for these things or these four things, this 4 month time period is the most crucial one. Now, what you need is the right strategy, that is the right schedule, right focus area. Next is high momentum plan. So the plan with respect to the notes, with respect to resources. and with respect to the tests. And third is the support system. So during this period, you need someone who can identify your mistakes and who can provide you the solutions to overcome these mistakes. Secondly, the you need someone who can identify your strong points. So it's not just about the mistakes, but it's also about the your strong points, because ultimately you have to build on your strong points. See, if you read any of the toppers' notes or any of the toppers' answers, you won't find the same structure. Each one has their own unique style. So to develop that style, you need to identify your strong points. And once you understand your strong points, based upon that, you can build on that. And you can develop your own answer writing style. Okay? So how to do this, or how to make the effective utilization of these next 4 months? So for that, you need to focus upon the three crucial areas. The first, the notes consolidation. So notes consolidation, it should not be the subject specific. It's rather, it should be theme specific and micro theme specific. How to do theme specific, micro theme specific? I have these screenshots. I will share it in a bit. But first, understand what you need to do exactly. Second is the PYQ analysis. So PYQ analysis is essential in order to understand the UPSC mindset. UPSC mindset, as in, you need to understand what kind of the question UPSC asked from the particular theme. Only when you know the nature of the question that UPSC asks, then only you will be able to identify the micro themes, and then only you will be able to do the notes making as well as the answer writing. And for this, developing the mindset, what you need is the brainstorming on your UPSC PYQ. So last 10 years of the PYQ need to do the brainstorming. And third is the mock test. How to give the mock test, how many mock tests are needed, that we'll discuss. This is the way in which toppers do. Now, let's start. The first thing, or the fundamental thing that you need to do. So those who want to stick with this plan, or who want to make the most effective use of next 4 months, in the next 2 days, you will be finishing your step one. So the step one is preparing the schedule. So preparing the schedule involves preparing a paper-wise targets. So paper-wise targets as in GS1, GS2, GS3, and GS4. Then a simple target would be 1 month, one paper, two tests. That is a simple target or the simple schedule that you prepare. Next is prepare the list of the themes and micro themes, and it should be based on the PYQs. The third thing is you need to ensure the discipline with respect to the test. If in your schedule you have decided to give the test on 20th of October, you should give the test on 20th of October, regardless of your preparation. So even if you haven't prepared or you are lagging behind one or two topics, that's absolutely fine. But you have to attempt the test. So that level of the discipline is important. Then let me give you an example how you need to prepare the schedule. So now you have a simple target, 1 month, one paper. That means you have about 30 days to prepare the or to finish your one paper. So let's take the example of GS2. So in GS2, you have polity, governance, social justice, and IR. So depending upon the weightage, for example, every year polity has 9 to 10 questions. Governance has around 4 to 6 questions. Social justice has around 4 questions. And IR always has 4 questions. Question number 9, 10, and 19, 20. So depending upon the weightage and depending upon the syllabus, you divide your days. So for polity, you will be giving 14 days. For governance, 6. Social justice, 6. and IR6. So that is your first step to prepare the schedule. The next stage is to decide the or to decode the themes. Themes, uh, we will be providing you with the micro theme document. Based upon that, you can easily identify the themes. So as far as polity is concerned, so in polity, you have total of the 9 themes. The first, nature of the constitution. So in nature of the constitution, generally they ask the questions with respect to the constitutional morality, constitutionalism, or constitutionalization of the gender rights, all those. Second, preamble to the fundamental rights. That's from Lakshmikant. Third theme, federalism. Fourth, executive. Fifth, legislature, that is the parliament and state legislature. Afterwards, the themes that you have, okay, there is some issue with respect to this. But apart from this, the remaining themes that you have are one, the judiciary, next, elections, the local bodies, and last one is the constitutional bodies, constitutional and statutory bodies. This is these are the themes. First, you need to identify the things, you need to divide or provide the days for it, and you need to identify the resources. So those who are in this match means they already have the access to the X factor notes. So we normally suggest them to continue with the X factor notes along with we provide them with the toppers answers, which we have classified into the topic specific answers. These are the only two sources that you are going to refer. Beyond that, you are not going to go. Next, after dividing your subjects into the months, the next thing is the you will be deciding the days for every theme of the topic. Once you identify the themes, so for every themes, you need to prepare the micro themes. So for every answer or for every topic, let's take the example of the parliament. So based upon the PYQs of last 10 years, you will be preparing the micro themes. If you have the access to our micro themes document, you will be able to identify the micro themes from each topic. And in every topic, you will be preparing the introductions and you will be preparing the way forward and the conclusions beforehand only. Then these are the micro themes from which they have asked the question. For example, if you see in 2024 itself, the question was on the growth of the cabinet system has undermined the parliamentary supremacy. So it is from the very first topic, the functions of the parliament. What are the functions of the parliament? The law-making function, the executive function, or executive accountability function, deliberative function, and last is the representative function. So if you know this, or if you have prepared the notes on this, and when the question comes how the cabinet system has undermined the parliamentary supremacy, you will be easily able to generate the points on these four functions of the parliament. How cabinet system has undermined the law making process. So through the delegated legislation, through ordinances, how it has undermined executive accountability. So this is through the whip system or the anti-defection law, how it has undermined the deliberative function. So this is through the disruptions as well as the politicization of speaker and how it has undermined the representative function. The members have to toe the party line rather than represent the interest of their constituencies. This is how the micro themes, or this is why the micro themes are most essential. Then they have asked a question on role of Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha has transformed from useless stepney tire to the most useful instrument in Indian federal system. Then they have asked in last 7 years itself, they have asked two questions on the role of speaker, then anti-defection law, parliamentary privileges, joint sitting, money bills, parliamentary productivity, profile of MPs. If you see in 2018 itself, they had asked the role of the individual MPs is declining. Then parliamentary committees, they have asked two questions on parliamentary committees in last 5 years itself. Then delimitation, role of opposition. This is current affairs based question. This is how you need to identify the micro themes and you need to prepare the notes beforehand for the micro themes.
So, sir, 1 second. Just
Yes.
1 second. Just 1 second. Folks, the micro theme that the sir is talking about, I put in the link in the chat. So you guys can just click and everything is freely available. What he's talking about, you'll find all of them here. Just check the link. Yes, sir, please continue.
Okay. So now we have identified the three focus areas. Now let's see the importance of each one and let's substantiate the arguments by the toppers' notes as well as their answers. So the first theme is the notes consolidation based upon the micro themes. So why notes consolidation is important? First and foremost, it improves your recall value. So if you have the proper short and crisp notes in exam when they will ask the question, it will be easier for you to recall from the notes. Otherwise, you will have to process the entire subject or the content of the entire subject in order to generate the dimensions. So if you have the crisp notes for every micro theme, you will be able to recall more effectively. Secondly, if you have the crisp notes, it saves your time for the revision. For example, if you see the notes of the animes are available on our website. So if you download the notes of the animes, you just open the notes of the ethics. If you see the entire ethics notes of his are of 71 pages, and if you eliminate the diagrams from it, the theory part is only of around 36 pages. So if you have your crisp notes, so you can revise it even during the gap of the 2 hours between the two papers during your means. Third, if you have the proper notes, it helps you in your structuring and interlinking of the concepts. If you have your notes where you have classified your points as per political, economic, social, technological, legal, or environmental, okay, if you have classified those dimensions, it helps you in structuring of your answer. That's why the notes consolidation is important. The next aspect with respect to the notes is the focus areas in your notes. Yes, so see, while making the notes, you need to make sure that you are following the exam-oriented approach. You don't need to prepare the notes for the doing PhD. All you need to do is you need to go through the PYQ. You need to identify the important micro themes, and based upon that only you need to cover the micro themes into your notes. That can be ensured through the PYQs. Secondly, you need to ensure or you need to balance the comprehensiveness and crispness of the notes. Comprehensiveness as in you need to cover each and every micro theme. If you see in one chapter only we have around 10 micro themes and there are total 9 such chapters. So you have to ensure that your one theme or one micro theme is covered in maximum of the one page. Third, you need to ensure that you are covering every themes and micro themes. Fourth, while preparing the notes, you don't need to add everything that you know. All you need to do is you need to apply the framework, and secondly, you need to add the keywords only. The things which you know you will be knowing and you will be able to recall even during the exam, you can skip those parts into your notes. Okay, let's take the example of animation. So how to do the notes consolidation? First, like we discussed, make the list. So for that, you can use the micro theme documents. Second, decide on your resources. So it will be the expected notes plus the topic-wise toppers answers that we provide. Third, this should be your framework for the notes. The first, you need to have the introductions and conclusions. Secondly, the frameworks. So what are the different types of frameworks that will come at the later stage? And third, you need to ensure the keywords. And in your notes, rather than the arguments or the elaboration, the maximum content should be the factual, which will involve the data, graphs, pie charts, examples, different Supreme Court judgments, and maps. This factual information, which will act as your brownie points or which will make your answers content heavy, that you need to add into your notes. So this, if you see the importance of the micro themes, for example, if you see in the economics, the one important micro theme is the inclusive growth. Every year you get a question on inclusive growth. The nature of the question that they ask, they link inclusive growth with some other theme. For example, in 2024, they have linked inclusive growth with the public expenditure. Examine the pattern and trend in the public expenditure on social service, to what extent this has been in consonance with objective of inclusive growth. If you see the previous questions also, so here in 2019, they have linked it to the sustainable development, how inclusive growth is essential for the intergenerational and intergenerational equity. Similarly, they have linked how inclusive growth is essential for the infrastructure. Then whether capitalism or the neoliberal policy can achieve the inclusive growth or not. So from this, if you understand the nature of the question and if you have the answer writing framework ready, it will be lot easier for you to write the answers. Similarly, if you see, there are multiple themes. For example, Quit India movement. What were the events that led to Quit India movement and point out its result? If you see in the PYQs, in 2019 itself, they had the, or in the 2019 itself, assess the role of the British imperial power in complicating the process of transfer of power. So in 1940s, what role British India played? The Cripps mission, the cabinet mission, as well as the arrest of the or the repressive policies that they followed, the divide and rule policy of the Britishers. So all those events ultimately led to the Quit India. So if you have prepared the notes based upon the PYQ, you will be easily able to answer this question. Similarly, there are multiple themes with respect to social empowerment also you can take. Then with respect to the kingdoms, so they have already asked with respect to the Pallavas and Cholas. So they have asked the Cholas. Then in 2013 itself, they had again asked with respect to the Cholas. Then, so if you have prepared the themes, micro themes, now let's take these are the micro themes that you will get into the document. The link is already shared with you. Let's take the example of the notes of the animation. So this is the notes of the animation for the entire attitude topic. So in ethics, you only have 8 topics. For every topic, he has prepared 1 or 2 pages of the notes. So this is his notes for the entire attitude topic. All he had done is added the framework. So for the framework that he followed for answering the attitude question is the behavioral, affective, and cognitive components of the attitude. And he has generated the keywords or the examples for each of the aspects. And then all he had done is use of the diagrams and the examples. Similarly, if you see his notes on the corruption, so here if you are can see he has started with the definition and he has mentioned the source. Then types. coercive, collaborative, and then the reasons. So in reasons also he had properly classified the administrative, political, social, economic, and under it he has tried to cover 3 to 4 aspects. Then next, the impact, and lastly, the way forward. So here, the way forward. That's it. So entire corruption notes are prepared in 3 pages. And if you have these short and crisp notes, it will be automatically reflected into your answers. If you want to see how it is reflected into the answer. So this is the answer of Animesh on the corruption. So if you see the question is on the corruption, the introduction is the same introduction which he had into the introduction, into his notes. Then the types of the corruption, the same diagram that he has used. Then the types collusive and catalyzation as in the coercive corruption. Then the economic aspects, the administrative aspects, banality of the even the social aspects of the reasons. All he had done is the added the points from the notes. And lastly, the way forward. The same way forward which he had into your notes. If you even see the conclusion, Kaushik Basu's scrutinization of the corruption, it was added into his notes itself. So only if you have the short and the crisp notes, then only you will be able to write the answers like a topper. Okay? Then next thing or the most important thing and the thing which 99 or even 99.9% of the aspirants miss is the brainstorming. Because see, let's be practical, it's humanly not possible for you to write 1000 or 2000 answers. But what is possible and what is needed is the brainstorming on more than 500 questions. And that's why we have the PYQs and extra lectures, where on alternate day we cover one theme and we cover the PYQs of last 7 to 8 years. And on alternate day we try to cover or brainstorm over around 10 questions. So we have the 40 lectures and we are targeting brainstorming over 500 questions. So in brainstorming, what you need to do is, so suppose first stage is the preparing the schedule. The second stage is the notes making. So once you go through the PYQ, identify the micro themes, prepare the notes. The third thing is you need to try to solve or brainstorm over the PYQs. So how to do the brainstorming? The first, you need to focus upon the demand. How to focus upon the demand is, if you see, these are the PYQs for every chapter. You need to identify or you need to first compile the PYQs or simply download the microtheme document, you will get access to the PYQs. Secondly, once you prepare the notes, based upon that notes, you prepare the answer writing framework for every topic. For example, with respect to the parliament, the answer writing framework is you need to have the ready-made introductions. Then which approach you are going to follow. For example, you are going to follow the functional approach. So if you see this year's question itself, if you follow the functional approach, how cabinet system has undermined the parliament. What are the functions of the parliament? Ensuring executive accountability, legislative function, economic function, representation, judicial function, and approval of the emergencies. So if you have the notes ready on this, or if you know at least this approach, the functional approach, that's it. You don't need anything else. All you have to do is substantiate or provide the points. Then for issues, the CI framework. Then the way forward again the CI. A simple approach for the way forward is whatever issues you have identified, you provide the solution for it and you provide the substantiation by mentioning the name of the committee. That's it. Then conclusion. using the keywords and the quote. That's it. So after preparing the notes, you need to brainstorm, where first you will be preparing the answer writing framework. Okay, so if you follow the expected notes for every chapter, we have provided the answer writing framework. All you need to do is understand that answer writing framework, get the conceptual clarity from the notes, mug up the facts, and that's it. You will be able to write any answer. Then next thing with respect to the demand understanding is focusing upon the directive and application of the rule. So directives play very important role. So what directive they have asked in the question, whether it is discuss, examine, elaborate, analyze, critically analyze, that is going to determine your space management or the weightage that you are going to give for each dimension. For example, if the dimension is discussed, you will follow 70-30 rule. How you will follow 70-30 rule? Let's see this. The or if your directive is discuss or comment, you will follow 70-30 rule. How you follow 70-30 rule? So this is the answer of AR1, this Aditya Srivastava. So what is the question? The collegium system has become victim of its own success with the concentration of power in the hands of few, leading to question about its legitimacy. So basically, the core question is about the issues with the collegium system, but the directive is comment. So as the directive is comment, the major focus you will be giving upon is the highlighting the, so 70% of the weightage you will be giving to highlight the issues with the collegium system. So if you see, he has covered total 5 points in issues. Then the 30% we will be giving to the counter argument. So if you see, however, this is not entirely true, and only 3 points he has given. Yes, giving 2 points is also sufficient for counter argument. And then the way forward, only 2 points in conclusion. So this is how you apply the directives. Similarly, if you see the same directive discussed, this is the answer of Animesh, the introduction map. Then majority of the weightage he has given to the core theme. In recent years, India's relationship with West Asia has evolved from geopolitics to geoeconomics. So basically, the core demand of the question is to highlight the geo-economic relationship between the India and the West Asia. So majority of the weightage he has given to the core demand as the directive is discussed. So he has written 7 points under it, and only 5 points under the issues, and that too with limited weightage. So directive understanding of the directive helps you in space management and structuring of your answer. Similarly, if you see, the directive here is, do you think? Do you think fresh delimitation may go against the federal principle? So they have asked your opinion. So your formula for do you think is 60-40 rule. So where if you agree with that statement, you give 6 points or 5 points in agreement, and you give 3 to 4 points in disagreement. So if you see the answers of this is the copy of the Harneet Singh. It's an IPS. So fresh delimitation going against federal principle. If you see the total points, the 4 points that he has given. But as delimitation is the constitutional mandate, and as delimitation is important, so you have to give more weightage to the aspect here, how delimitation doesn't go against federal principle. So he has covered 5 points under the counter argument. So that is how you manage the space. That is how you ensure the space management and the demand understanding. It is a static thing. Once you understand it and once you brainstorm over 50, 60 questions with respect to this rule, the 70, 30, 60, 40, 50, 50 rule. Okay, then after prelims, you don't need to start with this. You can directly start with answer writing. So these are the basics of the answer writing which you need to prepare for in these 4 months. Second is the structuring. So depending upon the rule and the directive, how much weightage you are giving to each demand and how you are managing the space. Second aspect is the relevant introductions and conclusions. So relevant introductions and conclusions are possible only when you have pre or you have prepared them into your notes. All you have to do is you have to put the introduction that you have prepared, and you have to link it to the theme of the question. If you see the introduction, there are 4 types of the introduction: historical, contextual, or definitional, or database. Similarly, for conclusion, your conclusion needs to be optimistic, futuristic, and suggestive. Majorly, you try to use the quotes and keywords. How to do this? For example, if you see these answers of the toppers, it's the same question with respect to the delimitation. So, delimitation, what does delimitation mean? That means you have to give the definition of the delimitation. Similarly, the Animesh answer, the definition of the corruption by using the World Bank. All these were predetermined. Similarly, if you see, this is the answer of AR4 Kriti Mishra. The question is on the preamble. She had prepared the quote on identity card of the Constitution. So preamble as the identity card of the Constitution, it's given in the Lakshmikant itself, and it is based on the objective resolution. It is also given in the Lakshmikant itself. So if you prepare 1 or 2 introductions beforehand, you don't need to think about the introductions. Similarly, corporate ethics, what he has done, provided the definition. Here also, if you see, this is the contextual introduction. Well-performing states, especially from South, have raised concern over fiscal injustice. So he has given the recent news and started with this. Similarly, the question is on the recent act. Here again, the contextual introduction is given. Third, again, this is Smriti Mishra. This is Arshisha Bhattacharya, and this is again Arnit. This is how toppers think and toppers prepare their frameworks. If you see, this question is on the NGO. So NGO, what she has done, she has directly started with the definition, and she has prepared this input-output diagram for the NGOs. If you have this diagram, which we have already also added into our expector notes, so you don't need to think at all about the introductions. All you need to do is mug up the definition and remember this diagram. So if you see, in this year itself, in 2024 itself, you had 3 questions on the NGO itself in GS1, in GS2, as well as in GS3, you had the question on the NGO itself. So in all the 3 questions, you have pre-decided introductions and conclusions. That will save your time. Similarly, if you see the citizen charter, again, the citizen charter and its aim. Similarly, the Panchayat Raj, keep it prepared and the features of it. So you should be prepared with respect to the introductory part so that you don't need to think twice or you don't need to waste your time in preparing the introductions and conclusions. You will get more time in thinking about the dimension coverage or the points. Next thing, similarly here also, if you see here also he has given the features. So whenever you have the question on the schemes or any act, always after the introduction you provide the features. So this is with respect to the 73rd, 74th Amendment. This is with respect to the RTI. Similarly, this is with respect to the preventive detention, the conditions for preventive detention. So your introductory part is ready. First thing you need to ensure in your notes is that. Then with respect to the conclusions, all you have to do with respect to the conclusions is link your conclusions to the specific vision or objective, or use the global best practice. For example, or use the quote. These are of the Animesh. He has prepared the quotes of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Chandrachud, and he has used this. If you see the mental health care, Article 21 and Survey Bhavantu Sukhina, you need to have the list of these keywords. With respect to the woman, if the question, you directly conclude with SDG 5 and Nari Shakti. Similarly, if you want to use the global best practice, so this is how you do it. So India need to learn from the New Zealand with respect to the conduct of cabinet committees. Right. So this is how you prepare the conclusions. So similarly, if you see the notes answer writing framework that I showed of this parliament, there I had provided one quote. So in this same question, how cabinet system has undermined the parliament. If you see the same question that we have brainstormed in our mains answer writing, the Samiksha. So India adopted cabinet system from UK with where executive is collectively responsible to the parliament. It's from Lakshmikant. Then this diagram, it's in our expected notes. This is ready. Then growth of cabinet system. And if you see marginalization of the parliamentary supremacy. The parliamentary sovereignty is your micro theme. You need to prepare the definition of it. So you start with the definition and you highlight how it has marginalized. This one graph, declining parliamentary committees. So number of bills referred to the parliamentary committees has declined. This graph was there into our notes. All you have to do is you have to protect it there. Then the way forward, and same conclusion we have used. Yeah, according to Ambedkar, constitution is as good as institutions who work on it. So need is to strengthen temple of democracy. If you see our answer writing framework, we have started with the same. As per Ambedkar, constitution is only as good as people who work it. This needs to be strengthened for temple of democracy. That's it. This is how you need to prepare your notes, and you need to brainstorm over the at least 400 questions. Then only you will be able to write the answers and manage your time. Because see, you have only 7.5 minutes to write 10 marker question. So your brainstorming aspect needs to be finished in 1 to maximum 1.5 minutes. So for that, your introductions and conclusions needs to be ready. Then secondly, your main body. So for main body, you need to have the framework. So why you need a framework? For dimension generation, to ensure diversity of your points, to provide the relevant point and avoid the generic points, and to ensure the coherence. Coherence as in the political, social, economic, all the aspects. And lastly, for time management. If you know you have to follow the functional approach for any question with respect to the parliament, and you already know the functions of parliament, so you don't need to think much about generating the dimensions. There also you will be able to save the time, and you can utilize that time to remember the examples, to remember the graphs, and to remember the data. That is why the frameworks are important. So some of the list of the important framework, for example, the PESTEL, STIPL, PIES, the CI approach, that is constitutional, institutional, the stakeholder approach, the P3 framework, mostly you will be using in ethics, personal, professional, and political or public. Then from geography, all you have to do is the geographical perspective framework, the location, climate, topography, resources. Then HSP framework, mostly used in history and society, the historical reasons, sociological reasons, political reasons, economic reasons. For example, if you get a question on the rise of communalism in India, you simply have to use the HSP framework. The historical reasons, the divide and rule policy of the Britishers, sociological reasons, the deep mistrust and the cultural differences between the different religious groups, the political reasons, the vote bank politics and hate speeches, the economic reasons, relative deprivation. That's it. You have 7 to 8 points ready if you have the framework. Then 4P framework, people, profit, planet policy, which you can use majorly in your environment. So this is how you need to develop the frameworks. And that's what you will be doing in the brainstorming part. So for parliament, I will be using the functional approach. For federalism, I will be using the PIES approach. For judiciary, again, I will be using the PILE approach. For any question with respect to vulnerable sections, be it women, be it tribal, I will be using the pestle approach. For society related questions like the communalism, regionalism, I will be using the HSPE framework. Okay. So this is how you need to develop the framework, and you need to attach each framework to the every major theme. You don't need to attach the framework for the micro theme. For major themes, you will be having the same framework. If you see, this is the answer of Shruti Sharma, All India Rank 1. So what they have asked, major responsibility in federal country is strong centralizing tendency. So this question is on the federalism. So the framework that she has used is the PIES approach. So political, that is then, sorry, institutional aspect, that is the legislation or the parliament, issues in institution. Executive, that is the role of governor and the role or use of central agencies, that is your political aspect, that is institutional aspect. And this is your structural aspect, that is use of energy, emergency powers. Similarly, if you see how it is reflected, legislative, institutional, and fiscal federalism. Again, PI approach. And in way forward, also has done is mentioning the committees. Similarly, if you see other answers to this, Archisha Bhattacharya. So here also, if you see, she has classified the aspects. So this is with respect to the women. So for women, we follow the pastel approach. She has not given the politics. So this is her governance related. That is the political aspect. This is social. And this is economic reasons. All you need to do is develop the framework. If you have the framework, automatically it will be easier for you to generate the dimensions. So if you simply see the dimensions that she has written, so 4 points, 2, 6, and 3, 9 points, and 3, 4 way forward. So 9 plus 4, 13 points she has written in 10 marker question itself. Only if you have the framework, you will be able to write or generate more dimensions and cover more dimensions or the issues. Okay. Then last thing is with respect to the presentation. So why presentation is important? For readability and the first impression. But presentation is also important to highlight the clarity of the thought. The presentation, the use of the diagrams, graphs is most important for simplifying the complex points. For example, when we have seen the input-output model of the NGOs, so that is very a complex task that the NGO perform. But if you use the diagram, it will be easier for you to highlight the role of the NGO, and that will reflect the clarity of the thought. Third, to enhance the visibility of your keyword. Fourth, sometimes you may not have the content. So this helps you in content deficit also. Especially use of diagrams and maps helps you in bridging the content deficit in art and culture. So if they ask you a question on, suppose this year they asked a question on Pallavas, Cholas, and the third question was on the Rigvedic and later Vedic period. So even if you don't remember the exact examples or the points, Okay, anyway, if you follow the sectional approach, you will be able to generate the dimension. But if you don't know the content, all you do, you prepare your introduction, the factual introduction, mention the year, and you draw the map, highlighting the important sites. Lastly, it saves the examiner's time also. So if you properly underline or color your points, or if your diagrams are reflecting the content that you want to show, or the maps are reflecting the detailed content that you want to show, examiner will see only that much and he will understand the depth of your knowledge. It will save his time also. See, understand the basic fundamental of UPSC. The evaluators of your actual UPSC exam have zero accountability. Nobody is going to ask them, or you don't have any option with respect to reevaluation. You don't get the Xerox copy or anything. So they have the zero accountability. So as they have zero accountability, it's your responsibility to make their job easier. If you make them happy, they will give you more marks. And to make them happy, you need to have a good presentation. So if you want to see or how you have to improve the presentation is the clear headings and subheadings, writing in bullet points and numbering, giving the numbers. Third, use of the diagram map flowcharts. Why? Because they convey complex ideas in simpler and effective terms. Then proper spacing and use of the tables. If you see how they do, these are the answers of AI to Oct''Jan. In almost all of the questions, he has used the flowcharts. If you see how many dimensions he has covered, the crucial position according to the speaker, the crucial position, the first part, makes it imperative to protect them from undue political pressure and incentives. Second part. So the crucial position he has covered using a flowchart, and he has written 5 points. So in the half of the page itself, he has addressed one demand and he has written 5 points. Similarly, here also, the major challenges. Similarly, if you see major events leading to East India Company's dominance, he has used the flowchart. So regional classification of Himalayas. So it's given in your class 11th NCERT, classification of the Himalayas. All you need to do is put it into the flowchart manual. That's it. That's how toppers think, and that's how toppers make the effective use of the content that you have. Why? Because they have the consolidated content in the form of crisp notes. They have their frameworks ready. They have their answer writing structures ready. And for that, they need the brainstorming. Here also, if you see, this is Ishita Kishore. So the question is on the regional music. So those who have covered the art and culture, each and every one of you know the different types of the regional music. All she had done is she has used the map to highlight regional music. For example, Pahadi Geet in Himachal, Hindustani music in North India, then in Northeast, then the tribal in the Central India, and Carnatic music in the Southern India. This is not a rocket science. Every one of you know these points. Similarly, you can use it to generate more points or to cover more dimensions. If you see, this is answer of Ankita Jain, AR3. If you see, in the limited space or in the space of 2 points, she has covered 4 points, and that too with subheading and the substantiation. This is how you need to improve the presentation in order to bridge your content deficit, or in case of the content overload. So if you have more points but limited space, there you can use the presentation to cover maximum of the dimensions without compromising on the quality of the answer. Similarly, if you see, this is again AR1 Kanish Kataria. In the limited space, he has covered 4 points. This is again, I think it is Garima Singla. So she has used the flowchart. If you see total points she has covered, so she has covered 6 points in the limited space, as in wait for it. Okay, so this is why the presentation is important, not just to bridge the content deficit, but to manage the content overload also. This is what you need to develop the framework for during the brainstorming aspect. Now, if you see, I'll show you some of the answers of the toppers, how they make the effective use of the presentation. So, see, this is the answer of the Shubham Kumar AR1. So, if you see, the question is on the Gandhian freedom struggle during 1970s to 1920s. So, everyone of you know the different uh, movements launched by Gandhi. This is how he has presented it. So 1917, Champaran, first civil disobedience. 18, Ahmedabad, first hunger. 18, Kheda, first non-cooperation. See how beautiful it looks. And it not only enhances the aesthetic value or the visibility, but also it enhances the visibility of your key points. Automatically, the first thing examiner is going to notice is this, the content, which is very precise. Similarly, here also, if you see, in the limited space, he has covered 4 dimensions. Similarly, if you see the example, he has just boxed the example. So automatically, the attention of the examiner will go to these aspects. If you have the presentation, similarly, this is Ishita Kishore. You see, not Ishita Kishore, this is Shruti Sharma. Again, if you see, for every example, she has just make us triangle or circle. This is how the she attracts the attention of the examiner. This is how you have to write. And if you count the number of points that she has written in the 10 marker question, so 4 points here, 3.7, then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, this is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 points. And that too, not this breaching the world limit. For this, the brainstorming is essential. Similarly, here also, if you see the various type of violence, question is on the various forms of violence against women in India. So simply he has used the temporal approach. All he has done is the followed the temporal approach before birth, infant, childhood, puberty, married woman, old age. And he has highlighted the different forms of violence. Now, if you read the points, each and every one of you will be knowing these points. It's not that he has written some extraordinary points. The best thing about the topper's answers is that you will never feel that the content is something which am not aware of or which I haven't read. You read the topper's answers, the content will be always, you already will be aware of the content. It's only how they present and how much they write and how relevant they write. If you see in the limited space, he has covered around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points. And that too with the decent representation. So he has properly highlighted the temporal aspect. So whenever you have the application of the temporal aspect, similarly in education also you can follow this approach. Primary education, secondary, tertiary, and higher education. Similarly in healthcare also you can follow this approach. Primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, tertiary healthcare. So similarly, this then here also this is again the answer of Swati Mishra, Air 4. If you see use of the diagrams and in limited space, he has covered 4 points. Use of the flowchart. Here again, this is how why the toppers answers are essential. Then, while giving the maps or the diagrams also, see the level of detailing that they are doing. So, with respect to the rivers in Bihar and Assam, see the level of detailing that Shivam Kumar is doing. Not just about the reverse, that is fine. You already know about the reverse, but the minor aspects like map is not to the scale or showing the north direction. This level of the presentation. So now a simple thing from this, what you can learn for every map, you can draw these two. There is no need for or there is no need to apply any mind. You can simply learn from this and you can apply for all the top maps that you will be drawing. This gives the or this leaves the very good impression on the evaluator. And this shows the sincereness as well as the creativity in the answer writing. With respect to graphs also, there are proper boxes, the names that are there. This is the again Shruti Sharma. So while highlighting the issues, so if you are following the regional approach, you simple map at the middle, and from that you highlight the issues. So Himalayas, then Western Ghats. So the question was on vulnerability of the Himalaya and Western Ghats. So she has drawn a small map at the middle, and based upon that, she has highlighted the issues. This level of the creativity and presentation obviously leaves good impression on the evaluator, and obviously he will be getting that edge of that 0.5 mark. So only difference between a topper and the guy who couldn't clear the means or the interview is the 0.5 mark in each question. So see, in your 4 GS papers, you will be writing 79 questions, 19 questions in the ethics. So even if you make the difference of 0.5 in each answer, that will make the difference of 40 marks in your mains itself. The difference of 40 marks is very huge. So 0.5 with presentation and zero point 0.5 with the content. Content as in the normal people, you check any of the answers you have written and I give you a challenge. Okay, check your dimensions in 10 marker questions. You will be writing maximum 8 to 9 points or maximum 10 points. In 15 marker, you will be writing maximum of the 15 points. So that's how the beginners or the normal aspirants write. But if you see, you check the dimensions covered by the toppers, specifically top 5 rank holders, we'll find in the 10 marker question they have covered 10 to 13 points, in 15 marker 15 to 18 points. So that extra dimensions give them that 0.5 extra marks, and that's the difference there of another 0.5 mark. Overall, the difference of 1 mark in each question will make the difference of 80 marks. So that's why you need to follow the brainstorming aspect and understand the presentation aspect in these 4 months. The last thing is giving the test. So why you need to give the test is for the application of brainstorming. So it's not sufficient to do the brainstorming and application of the framework. As long as you don't apply those frameworks into your answers, there is no use of it. So for application of your framework in timely manner, you need to write the tests. Third, like we discussed, breaking the inertia. Only if you start writing now, initially you are going to write very bad answers, and that's absolutely fine. I will show the first answer written by the animes and the last answer written by the animes. So initially, obviously, you are going to write very bad answers, and that's absolutely fine. But if you keep on writing now, in the span of 4 months, at the end of January, you will have the sufficient confidence with respect to the answer writing. And after the prelims, you can immediately start writing the answers. And last, it refines your content and the framework usage. Apart from that, obviously, the hit ratio. If you join a proper test series, even if 4 to 5 questions come directly from the test series, it is going to save your time. So rather than 7.5 minutes, you will be writing those answers, 5 question answers in 6 minutes itself. Because you have already written it, you already know the answers of those. So you will save 1.5 minutes for 5 questions. And that will be 7.5 minutes. You can attempt one extra question. And for example, then how many tests to give? If you want to get a decent rank and if you want to get into top 50, in a year you need to give 18 tests of the GS 10 essay tests, and 12 optional tests. So 18 tests you need to divide, 10 tests you need to give during these 4 months, and 8 tests after prelims. Because after prelims, you have to manage your optional essay, GS, and you have to focus upon the content engagement also. With respect to essay, again, 6 tests in these 4 months and 4 tests after the prelims. And optional, 6 now, 6 after. So majority of the answer writing you will be doing in these 4 months. So only if you do this, because see, right now you don't have the exam pressure. So you don't have to worry about the content. So you are relatively relaxed. You can give those tests now itself and you can understand the basics or build your foundations. Okay. So the 3-step process is notes making, brainstorming, and answer writing. If you want to see how the hit ratio is there, for example, if you see the UPSC GS3 paper of 2023, so pattern and trend in the public expenditure, now it is linked to the inclusive growth. So we have already asked the question. So in the our smash means FLT, we already had the question on the expenditure on the social service. So social protection is essential for inclusive growth. So the same theme is there. How social services is essential for the inclusive growth. Same theme we have covered. Similarly, if you see the PYQ, public expenditure management, it has also covered the public expenditure. Yeah. Similarly, if you see the questions, role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security, the rice wheat policy amplified for nutritional outcome, including millets in the PDS, could be game changer. So the significance of the millets. Similarly, if you see the PYQs, changes emphasis on the millet production and consumption. So maximum of the hit ratio you will be getting from the test series and from the PYQ. So if you solve those questions, you would have already written the answers on the your majority of the questions. So if you see the GS3, here also if you see intellectual property rights in PYQ already they have the intellectual property rights. Similarly, we already have covered the same theme. So whatever question they ask, you have the theme ready. So maximum of for 2 to 3 questions, you won't, or maximum 2 questions will be unique, just like this. This is the one question which is not linked to the either our smash means or the PYQ. And this is the second question. And this is the third question. So out of 20 questions, you have only just 3 questions on which you haven't written the answer. If you see the questions also with respect to the narco terrorism. So with respect to narco terrorism, India's proximity to the illicit opium growing states. It's in the PYQ, and I'm not saying cover all the PYQ. These are from last 10 years of the PYQ only. Because similarly, with respect to Sendai framework, here also they ask the question on the Sendai framework. You take any of the paper, not just 2024, you take 2023 paper and compare it with the last 10 years of the PYQs. You will get maximum of the iteration. Second, from the tests. So as our tests are based upon the micro themes, the chances of getting the maximum hit ratio is there. So if you have sufficient amount of practice, if based upon micro themes you have your notes, if based upon PYQ you have your brainstorming, automatically you will be covering maximum of the questions from the test paper. And if you see the importance of the answer writing, so this is the answer of the Animesh. The very first, this was his answer from the first FLT that he has written. And it was written in the July 2022. Okay, we had a phone call and we had discussed the FLT. After the evaluation, we have had the one-on-one discussion with Animesh. So this was his answer. See, there is no proper presentation. There is no visibility of the keyword. There is no logic in underlining. You can't even segregate his headings and subheadings. And this is his law. Again, this is from the same paper, FLT1. Same, no substantiation, no example. And after writing around, I think he wrote 8 or 9 FLTs or 9 tests during the span of October to January, and then around 4 or 6 FLTs after the prelims. And these are his answers after the prelims. See the richness, the presentation aspect, the visibility of the keyword, and the underlining aspect. So only when you start writing and you break that inertia, then only when you discuss all of your answers. For every test paper, once your copy gets evaluated, it is discussed one on one with the mentor. So Animesh had the discussion with me with Ranveer sir. So based upon the suggestions, he incorporated these. Now see, these are the answers which he wrote before the mains. The proper visibility of the dimensions, the proper underlining, proper use of the diagrams. Similarly, if you want to see this use of the diagram, again the visibility, the space management, the dimensions, the sheer dimensions that he has covered 3 points, 4.7, and 310. This is how you need to do it. And the brainstorming that we do into the PYQ Samiksha is where we do the live answer writing of on daily basis in this way. So one we have already discussed, one this is of this 2024. So those who have attended the Samiksha lectures and those who have attended the PYQ discussions after our 2024 paper, those will be having an idea. So this is how you need to proceed in the span of next 4 months. So remember these three focus areas: notes, PYQ, and mock tests. So for notes, go for X factor notes. Analysis, you go for the Samiksha. You do live answer writing with me on every alternate date, 10 questions along with the toppers answers discussion. And last, you try to attempt 10 tests. Okay. Now, any doubts? Yes. If anyone has any doubts.
Yeah, let me open up chats for everyone. You can write or you can just raise your hand and you can ask directly. I'll unmute you. अगर आपको कोई भी doubt है, basis the session, you can ask. Especially if you're attempting 2025. Yes, Hers, let me unmute you. You can ask. I've tried to unmute you.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I want to ask about the Samiksha program. The voice was uncleared by sir. So, what is that Samiksha program?
Okay. Shubham, sir, you want to take or?
Yes. So see, basically in Samiksha program, what we do, we have the three focused approach. On every day, we try to cover one or two topics. For example, the parliament topic that I have shown. So at the beginning, in half an hour, we discuss the important aspects or the micro themes of the parliament. Second, we do the live answer writing of the 10 questions on daily basis. So we do the live answer writing where we brainstorm over 10 questions and we write the answers by applying the frameworks. And afterwards, we discuss around 4 to 5 toppers answers. So how we do it? These are your expected notes. At the beginning, we discuss, like I said, the micro themes, then the PYQs, and then the answer writing framework for every topic. And we briefly discuss the important aspects. For example, if you see, this is the diagram we had into your notes, and the same diagram was useful into the answer of this year. So first, in half an hour, we discuss the entire topic. Then we do the live answer writing of. So in this way, we do the live answer writing and brainstorming on over 10 questions or whatever questions that are there from that topic. And at the end, we discuss the topper's answers from that particular topic. For example, this is the answer of Shruti Sharma. Then the different the answers of the different toppers from the same topic we discuss. So that is how we do the brainstorming in the Samiksha. Okay, and based upon that only we have our tests are aligned with the same program. So our plan is to finish the GS2 by this month end. So by 20th we will be done with polity and governance, and on 20th we will be having your first test on the polity and governance. So in the span of 4 months, we will be doing the brainstorming on all the GS4 papers and attempt 10 tests.
Yeah. I'll also suggest there is a WhatsApp number I am putting in up. Like if you want to know more, you can just WhatsApp us. And Suryans is asking if he has, like, will he need to go through Lakshmikant if he has X Factor notes? I
Yes,
think because X Factor is just slightly advanced level, right? It's a layer over Lakshmikant.
you can't miss the statics. See, majority of the content we have covered, but anyway, you can't skip your standard books, and you have to read your standard books for your prelims. You don't skip your standard books.
Yeah. Aniket, I'm unmuting you. You can ask. Others either just write down or just like we're done with the session. You can go ahead, have your dinner, leave. We'll just wrap up after a few Q&A. Animesh, Aniket, you can go ahead. So try to unmute you.
You
Okay.
can type your question as well. So
Yeah, you can type if you are not able to unmute, but I've asked to unmute. Fine. If there are no questions, I think okay. Do we need to write counter argument for every question or a specific type of question?
see, that is where the rule, the 70-30, 60-40, 50-50 rule comes in. So whether to write the counter argument or not depends upon the directive of the question. If the directive is in line with the examine or analyze or critically analyze, so you have to give 50-50 weightage to the both sides, the arguments and the counter arguments. If the directive is discuss or elaborate or comment, in that case you have to give 70% weightage to your argument and 30% weightage to counter argument. If the directive is explain, elucidate, illustrate, in that case there is no need to give the counter argument. So that depends upon the directive of the question.
PYQ with solution. It's already like I've shared the link. All the GS 1, 2, 3, 4, all the paper PYQ solutions you'll get, model answers you'll get. Uh, uh, Raju is asking when he makes a one-pager notes, he is including arguments and counter arguments. Is it enough or should he do also data addition in the answer in his one-pager?
No, like I said, your note should contain first introduction, conclusions, then the frameworks. And apart from that, all you need to put is the data, keywords, graphs, and examples. If you have the framework, for example, if you know you have to follow the pastel approach, so it's not going to be an issue for you to generate the dimension. You will be simply classifying your points: political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental. So your dimension aspect is covered, but the elaboration aspect and substantiation aspect is needed. The substantiation aspect, as in data, examples, graph, that you need to compile. So in your notes, rather than the elaboration part, you try to add this value addition part in the form of data, examples, graph, charts, maps, pie charts. Just like I have shown the notes of the animation. If you see the notes of his attitude or corruption, all he had included is the examples and the diagrams. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, he had included the introduction of World Bank definition. Same he has used in through the introduction. And same conclusion which he had into his notes, the keyword according to Kaushik Basu, the substitutization of corruption.
Yeah.
You
Surya
have
is asking, he has given first essay test, he has scored 102. Is it like,
good. Yes, definitely it's very good score. 102. Again, see, essay never go with the scores that are given. Scores are very subjective. Okay, just to give you an example, this year in our evaluation team, so we had a team of 5 people. So out of 5 people, 2 were IPS, 1 were IRS, and 1 IAS officer was there. Okay, so despite being so renowned team, we also had the difference with respect to the marking system. So never go with respect to the marks. Focus upon the comments because essays are very subjective. I may agree with you, but evaluator may not agree, or someone else may not agree with the dimension that you have covered. So go by the comments. Don't go by the marks. Yes, obviously, if you are scoring anywhere between 90 to 110 or 120, don't look at the marks. Just focus upon the comments. If you are scoring below 80, then that means there are some fundamental issues in your structure. Again, if you are scoring above 120, get it rechecked. That's it.
okay, beginner with job, not completed basic books. Should I go current affairs video lecture, also X Factor? What should I do for Himanshu? If you're a beginner, I mean, if I don't know when you are attempting, but if it is 2025, then you kind of have 8 months, right? There is a webinar coming on 13th of October. Shashwat is taking, he's an IPS. Please join that. Another thing is the right program for you would be Ultimate Assessment Program. Smash is generally slightly for advanced folks who have slightly like veteran kind of people who have attempted means, etc. आपको थोड़ा basic से ही start करना पड़ेगा. Also, I don't know how much you have covered, etc. Right? Because you're writing, you have not covered the basic books yet. So you need like a proper laid out plan. So there is a link. Please just WhatsApp there and we'll connect. Multiple mains. Should I directly start FLT or sectional test? Sri Ram is asking.
It depends upon your notes. If you have the consolidated notes, and if you are confident that you can finish the notes consolidation and the brainstorming on each paper in 15 days, you can go for the FLT. If not, go for the sectional. That's absolutely fine. Which test you are writing at this point doesn't matter. What matters is you are covering all the 3 aspects: notes consolidation, brainstorming, and answer writing. After prelims, definitely you go for only FLTs.
Irfan, Samiksha is like he'll be like you write test with Shubham sir. It's not like you only write. So he'll be discussing the background context of the question. These are PYQs, by the way. This is not
So
like a
in
yeah.
Samiksha, we have the lecture, and in lecture we do the answer writing. The one-on-one discussion will be of the tests. Once you submit your test, after you getting your evaluated copy, there will be the one-on-one discussion with me or whoever your mentor is.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I raised query in the comment section.
Sorry. You can ask again. You can just ask right now. Hello? Am I not audible?
You are audible.
Okay, cool. Karthik, let me unmute you.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Am I
evening.
audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sir, first of all, thanks for providing me an opportunity for giving opportunity to talk. Sir, I am a gentleman cadet from the Indian Military Academy, but sir, due to some medical issues, I have been bored out from there. And sir, I'm preparing from January for the UPSC CSE for 2025 attempt. Sir,
Okay.
as I do research as much as I can, and I have came a result about that the whole game is about mains. Yes, sir. And sir, I'm trying from the March about this approach the sir has been told so far. But sir, the problem is I'm not at the point to make out whole the thing that sir has done. सर होलसमली मैं ये कंप्लीट नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ कि मतलब वही जो आपने होलिस्टिकली समझा है वो मैं नहीं कर पाता हूँ। हाँ, पीवाईक्यू एनालिसिस माइक्रो थीम्स पे भी मैंने थोड़ा बहुत काम किया है। हर बार सर ये डाउट होता है कि अपनी से नोट्स बनाऊं, डिजिटल नोट्स बनाऊं, या फिर जो वन पेजर मिल रहा है टॉपर्स के या फिर अदर इंस्टीट्यूट्स के, इस पे रिलाई करूं। ट्रस्ट इश्यूज आते हैं। तो सर what approach you will suggest me for?
This is the first time you're attempting, right? 2025?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So UPSC first time. Yes, sir.
Correct. And what is your age?
Sir, my age is at 23.
Okay, cool. All right. I mean, I see a lot of we don't know how much of the basic books have been covered, but Shubham sir, do you want to add? Because what he's asking is, he's getting things here and there, and he also is very self-aware that mains ka hi game hai in the end, which is of course correct. But if
So
we just
sorry
have to
to
give him
interrupt you.
some holistic, yeah.
Sorry, sir, to interrupt, but for the CDS examination, sir, I have completed my whole basic books, like for the Lakshmikant, Nitin Singhania for the Indian economy, sir, the 11-12 geography NCRTs, and sir, I have cleared 6 times CDS. So, matlab, I know the whole basic books idea, that what kind of content and also.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Shubham
So
sir.
see, the major thing I think that you are lacking is the brainstorming aspect. I believe.
Yes, sir. Points generate नहीं हो पाते कभी भी.
Yes. Why? Because you don't have the framework and you haven't done sufficient amount of the brainstorming and you haven't read sufficient amount of the toppers answers. See, it's not about many of the times, despite having the content, you are not able to write the points, or you are not able to arrange the points in the logical manner, and that's because lack of the framework. For that, along with it, I'll just give you a simple framework. You just read the any one document on federalism, and I will give you a PIEs framework. So you classify your points under PIEs: political, institutional, economic, and social. Okay, or simply PI: political, institutional, and economic. You classify whatever you are reading under these three aspects, and after that you try to write the answers. Automatically your points will be generated.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
just do this simple exercise.
Sir, the initiative and the program the Civil IAS, Civilsdaily is doing. Sir, can I enroll in this, and what will be the further details and from where I have to get it? Sir, I think so from 5 p.m. I'm messaging through WhatsApp and all, but sir, I'm not getting any kind of update.
Yeah, so
sir,
yeah, I'll tell you, it takes thoda time because there are a lot of students we need to talk. We have only limited number of folks. So I'll make sure that you get a call, but first thing tomorrow, Karthik, I'll do that. I'll make sure that you receive
okay.
it.
Okay, sir. So,
okay.
so holistically in our course, holistically the all approaches and the all functions will be covered up, sir. That's my question.
Yeah, not in Samiksha. PYQ Samiksha is basically like for mains 400, 500 PYQs. But UAP is where you are holistically covering prelims, mains, everything. So, but
Sir,
we
in
need to know
Samiksha.
slightly more about.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So, okay, sir. So I should talk about this to the mentor, right, sir? The call
Yeah,
which I
you'll
received.
receive the call, and then you can discuss whatever. We cannot know which program will suit you with just this kind of information, honestly telling you.
Yes, sir.
Because we also
Absolutely,
don't.
sir. I also think.
Yeah. So आपको काफी और डिटेल देनी पड़ेगी कि आप exactly कहाँ हो प्रिपरेशन में, उसके हिसाब से ही we can suggest, and then it's your call.
Okay. Thank you so much
okay.
for your giving precious time. Thank you so much, sir.
All the best. Karthik, do well in exam.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Okay. Priyanshu, Shubham sir, can you answer his query? He's saying he's not consistent with answer writing. And he is like, either he's not feeling confident कि उसका content पूरा है कि नहीं. What is it that someone can do who's facing issue with the consistency in answer writing?
So see, Priyanshu is already enrolled into UAP. So for
UAP,
UAP,
yeah.
you already have the access to the Samiksha. So you simply align your schedule with the Samiksha. You attend your lectures regularly. After the lecture, you are getting access to the entire notes. In the lecture also, I am explaining the entire topic. Then we are doing the live answer writing. And after that, if you are not consistent with the answer writing, that's why I am giving you daily in every lecture, I am giving you the assignment of at least 2 to 3 answers.
Yeah.
So try to attempt those and discuss those answers with your respective mentors.
Yeah, I think that's like a really
Yeah,
good
it's
advice
just
because अगर आप beginner हो तो if I want to start on my own then थोड़ा friction है, but if I'm writing with you then at least I have like this thing, right? Like I can
so see, your
so
schedule
Priyanshu,
is
you should
sorted now. Your schedule is
definitely start
sorted now.
writing.
Your notes aspect is sorted now. Your approach aspect, answer writing approach, framework aspect is sorted now. All your assignment aspect, test aspect is sorted. All you have to do is sit and write. You write it,
Yeah.
you send it to your mentor, understand your strength, weakness, and overcome your weakness and build on your strengths. That's it. And don't be in a hurry. It's
Yeah.
a gradual process. We have started just now. It takes 1 or 2 months to write some good answers. I have shown the answers of animation. So be patient and be consistent.
I just want to add one more thing to what Subham sir is saying. We see a lot of students who just want or come or panic with some kind of abstract advice कि sir मेरे को ये problem हो रहा है, just tell me. I've never seen anyone getting help from those things because majority of the aspirants जिनकी यहाँ पे rank आई है UAP or from any other exam, they always came up with some kind of test or some kind of answer, right? Because when you bring your own copy, let's say you have attempted a PYQ Samiksha ka test with Subham sir, and if you go with test answer to your mentor, then he or she can give you very concrete advice कि आप वो गैप दिख रहा है ना, फिर आप ऐसे ही आ जाओगे कि सर मेरे को आपसे बात करनी है, वो थेरेपी कॉल्स हैं, कुछ होना नहीं है, आप फिर से उसी में रहोगे। और अगर आप यूएपी में नहीं भी हो, फिर भी अगर आपको किसी से भी एडवाइस लेनी है, आई विल हाईली सजेस्ट कि आप एक कॉपी लेके जाओ, कोई आंसर लेके जाओ कि यार मतलब कुछ सिम्टम्स तो देख देख पाएगा ना फिर डॉक्टर की कोई सिम्टम है, इस पे मैं दवाई दे सकता हूँ। अब आप ऐसे ही चले जाओगे कि नहीं है तो फिर so Pranshu, this is what I felt looking at your queries कि I'm getting some problem, like we don't know what is it, तो आप attempt some test so that we have some concrete idea and then come up with those tests. Okay folks, I think we are done with the query. Have a great night, all the best. There's a PYQ session, keep attending them. There's a WhatsApp number, I'm dropping the link again if you want to talk. Hope this session helped and take care, study well, and yeah, if you're facing any query, please feel free to reach out to us. Take care folks. Bye bye. Good night.